Welcome again, Cancer. Dadhichi Toth here from astrology.com.au. Thanks for joining me. It's August 2015, and this time of the month I normally take a look at a brief synopsis for yours and the other 11 signs horoscopes. It's just a brief overview, so for more detail you can look at the website where we give a more in-depth analysis. But if you've looked at the introduction to the month, which I do each month, the theme really is the retrograde movement of Venus this month, along with a couple of important transits that I'm going to refer to for your specific star sign. The retrograde movement of a planet empowers it. It gives it much more strength. In your case, it refers to the 11th house, which is your zone of friendships, elder siblings, and really life desires, along with such things as profits from business. But in your case, it is an important planet and lets us know whether or not you can be happy in what it is you're pursuing at this time in your life. The other sign of the zodiac that it rules is Libra, or the 4th house, which again has to do with your happiness, inner contentment, family life, so on and so forth. So this planet at the moment is in your zone of finance, and being a finance planet, it has quite a bit to say about what's going on there. So finances are tied in with your domestic situation right now. And of course there are 3 other planets. There's the Sun, Mercury and Jupiter, also located in this sector with Venus. So a strong congestion of energy there, which is highlighting the need to earn money, to expand yourself financially, and to find some satisfaction in this specific area of your life. In fact, when there's too many planets focused in one point of the zodiac, then perhaps you could be overemphasizing that thing in your life. That's where we see Mars at this point in time, still in that combative sun sign of yours, but fortunately it moves out of there. Let me take a look here, on the 9th of August. So up until the 9th, I would say you're still going to have some issues, because on the 1st of August we see that full moon in the 8th house, which is opposite to the 2nd house. That full moon is very, very revealing. 8th house has to do with your shared resources, sexuality, matters that are intimate, and it is the house of transformation. These are the things in your life which will transform you. Having your ruling planet in this area is very, very powerful. It gives you strength to really overcome. It makes you strong, having the Mars there in that first house of your sun sign. It's not very strong in the sign of Cancer, being a fire planet in a watery element, but it still has that what we call angularity. It's in the foreground, so it still has some power there. And I think a lot of your issues this month, Cancer, are going to be centered on that. How you're sharing your resources, how you're earning money, who's paying what, if you're in a relationship, finding balance in those specific areas of your life. And mind you, later in the month on the 14th, there's a new moon, which again takes place in this 2nd house of finance. And when we see these lunations, the new moon in particular, it shows us those areas that are opening up, that are going to become a focus for you. And as if you don't have enough focus on that already with 4 planets there. But the retrogression, the full moon in that 8th house, the new moon taking place in the 2nd house, and then, as I said, on the 9th, Mars will move into that 2nd house. So I don't think you're through the woods yet, but you need to use the power of these lunations, your ruling planet, the moon. It's not really a planet, we know that, but just for ease of communication, having this strength shows that you can make some headway at this point in time and come to a clear arrangement about how you're earning your money, how you want to spend it, and how the people you're involved with should respect that, and how you should have them come to some agreement on how there's going to be balance in those areas of your life. There's so many relationships. I think, well, I can't remember the exact percentage, but there's a huge percentage of divorces, breakups, not to mention business partnerships, of course, that hinge or rather break up because of that problem, those differences of opinion. So it's important, if you're having those problems, to stop sweeping them under the rug. You are the type of person, sometimes you're emotional about things and you keep things held within. So it's important this month to talk about that and to feel your strength, and to, don't let Mars overtake you, because you can, sort of explode. You need to channel that energy and talk about how you feel in a respectful way, but in a way that demands respect without being, rude about it. So I think, as you can see, the primary focus is on that area. Of course, the other really, really big transit, which only happens once every 12 years, well, it happens once a year, moving sign to sign, is that of Jupiter. But once every 12 years, it moves into this third house, and it's going to do that again now. So I say to people, it's very easy to go back through time 12 years ago, have a look at what was going on in your life at that time. You might just get a hint as to what's coming during this particular transit. The third house, which we've said already, you're going to have some other planets there. The Sun on the 24th moving into there. You've got Mercury there on the 8th moving into there. So the shift is away from the money itself to communication. The third house is all about communication and how you communicate your ideas, coming up with new ideas. And Jupiter moving into this area is just phenomenal. It's actually quite a very, very powerful placement that expands anything that it comes in contact with. So it will expand your mind. If you've been feeling somewhat restrained or constrained by the circumstances or people around you, you can look forward to this transit being a particularly welcome one, I think. If you go back several years, as I said, you might see a similar sort of pattern happening during that period of your life. Saturn continues to transit this fifth house. It's gone back into its retrograde motion as well. I think we talked about that last month. You can't expect too much more of a change in that. That's going to continue to challenge you in that area of your life, your relationships, and in particular children. If you're a parent, you might be finding it difficult to communicate. Could it be that some of these problems we're talking about in your finances and communication may have to do with this particular area? We see, for example, the right angle, the square between Venus and Saturn having passed, but now because that planet is going retrograde, it's going to go back and do the same thing again. And both of them are in the retrograde motion. So I think getting a clearer understanding of your relationships, and these two planets cause a lot of cooling off, a distancing, a disconnectedness. So whilst you may have this desire to communicate and all these transits, don't forget too that it takes two to tango. What I'm saying there is that even though all these energies are giving you the impetus to move forward in that way, what happens if the other person's not amenable to that? And that could just happen because you've got this right angle of the Venus to Saturn. So maybe you just have to be a little bit patient. As long as the intention is there, that's the strong karmic factor here. And I always say that to people. Action is not the real determinant of your future karma. It's the desire, it's the inner intention that the universal law will make note of. So as long as you've got the desire to resolve things, I think that other person that we're talking about, if that is indeed the issue with you right now, has a sense of what you're wanting to achieve. And you just have to pull back, control that Mars energy, as I said. I think soon enough you'll be able to come back together, make that connection, and resolve a lot of these problems. Look forward to your company next month. Hope that's helped. There's more detail on this, as I said at the outset of the reading, at astrology.com.au, my website there. Attracting over 1 million people a month, and with more detail on your daily, monthly and yearly readings. Look forward to your company next month. Bye-bye now.